Calm down. Simply take a breath. Every item has a dance that runs beneath its surface, a rhythm to life. You might have felt out of step for a long time. It was as though you were attempting to impose a melody that wasn't entirely your own. However, you are now entering a new song that truly captures the depth of your soul and your actual value. Consider life to be like a river. It is something to enter gracefully, not something to be subdued or dominated. You discover that the river is simply transporting you to the life you were always destined to live when you let yourself go into this current. You see, resistance is largely to blame for our misery, making an effort to be someone we are not, pursuing false notions of happiness, love, or success that have been defined for us by others. But the reality is straightforward. You don't have to prove or earn your value. It is a seed sown by the universe itself, an innate aspect of who you are. You start drawing a life that respects who you truly are when you finally stop fighting against yourself and let your true self show. The previously closed doors start to open. It's because you've stopped fighting and begun flowing, not because you've battled harder. It's a paradox. You have to let go in order to acquire everything. You must initially remain still in order to proceed. The life you deserve is not a far-off place or a reward to be obtained. It is the manifestation of your true self in the world, the inevitable result of leading a comfortable and genuine life. Consider a tree. It cannot alter the seasons or the dirt beneath its roots, no matter how hard it tries. However, it fully blossoms and bears fruit effortlessly when it settles into the environment. When you stop fighting the natural flow and have faith that what is about to happen is exactly in line with your worth, your life will also start to blossom. Here, relaxation does not equate to inactivity or hopelessness. It is a deliberate call to trust how your journey will emerge and in what time. The universe is already working to send you chances, people, and experiences that mirror this fact. And it is the gentle recognition that you are enough, just the way you are. Miracles of all sizes can enter your life when you let go of the tight hold that fear and uncertainty have on you. You start to breathe more freely as the pressure of expectations lifts, flowing not against the currents of possibility, but with them. Why this change occurs now may be a mystery to you. Why it seems that after so much effort, the life that is worthy of you is suddenly within your grasp. The universe has been waiting for you to stop fleeing and start showing up, is the answer. It has been waiting for you to realize that past errors, setbacks, or other people's opinions have never erased or reduced your value. Rather, worth has been subtly brewing inside of you, like a wind-sheltered flame, just waiting for you to tend to it with faith and self-acceptance. That spark suddenly explodes into blinding light as you unwind, blazing a path that was always yours to tread. Do not be afraid of what is yet to come. The life that aligns with your value might not seem like what you had in mind. It could urge you to let go of outdated personas, connections, or routines that aren't contributing to your development. But keep in mind that becoming more is never the goal of growth. The goal is to become more of who you are. When you value yourself, you make room for change that comes easily, joyfully, and naturally. There, the universe is waiting to greet you with plenty and blessings commensurate with the worth you have always held within. Let your life unfold naturally, in your breath, in your bones, and in the still places of your mind. Sense the energy of alignment stirring. You are entering a world that is true to who you really are. A life in which your presence is valued, your spirit is nurtured, and your gifts are acknowledged. This is not a far-off dream or a fancy. Just by being completely yourself, at ease, and glowing at work, You can claim the reality that is waiting for you. So give up the fight. Let go of the tightness in your chest, the weight in your heart, and the stiffness in your shoulders. The water knows the way better than your intellect ever could. So let it carry you with ease. Have faith that the life that is playing out in front of you is the one that is really yours. A life that aligns with your greatest goals, attractiveness, and sense of value. Calm down and go for it. In the din of daily life, we frequently overlook a basic reality. You don't need to prove yourself to others or fight for your value. It is not a reward that must be earned with unending effort. Furthermore, it is not a status granted by society's norms or the acceptance of others. Rather, your value is ingrained in your life from the moment of your birth, stitched into the very fabric of who you are. This value is inherent, timeless, and unalterable. To understand this is to embark on a path of deep transformation and serenity. The majority of people try to gauge their worth throughout their life by looking at their accomplishments, assets, honors, and other people's opinions. When they consider their social status, relationships, or occupations, they think, if only I had this, then I would be worthy. However, because it bases your value on a fluctuating basis, this way of thinking leads to a never-ending cycle of striving and discontent. What occurs if those objectives are not met? What occurs if recognition or approval are refused? All of a sudden, value becomes brittle, contingent, and unclear. However, there is a deeper truth hidden beneath all of these outward manifestations. Your value is independent of your actions and the opinions of others. It is your being's constant, silent pulse. The light shines just because you are there. Consider a diamond hidden under several layers of soil. The diamond's worth is unaffected by the amount of dirt that covers it. Your value is unaffected by adversity, rejection, or failure. It is a gem within you that is just waiting to be acknowledged and accepted. Realizing this implies that you are not your history, your mistakes, or the criticisms that have been directed at you. These are stories and experiences, but they don't determine who you are. Your value is greater than any classification or situation. This is not some nebulous notion or sentimental catchphrase. It is an essential life principle. This value is inherent in every individual only by virtue of their existence. It is the wellspring of your special gift, your humanity's cornerstone, and your source of dignity. This insight encourages a transition from despair to acceptance. You start to discover affirmation within yourself when you quit looking for it outside of yourself. You begin to believe that you are sufficient, whole, and complete, just the way you are. This is a peaceful confidence that comes from knowing who you really are, not conceit or pride. It's the liberty to be real, without fear or fakery. Since you are aware of your intrinsic worth, you no longer need to put on masks or act out parts to justify your inclusion. The world around you starts to alter when you live from this point of inner worth. When you stop giving off the impression that you're insecure or needy, you draw chances and relationships that respect and represent who you really are. Rather, you exude poise, assurance, and genuineness. Harmony and alignment are invited by this frequency, which attracts experiences that are worthy of you. It seems as though the universe opens previously closed doors in response to your realization of your own worth. However, this realization does not happen suddenly. Many people need to unlearn a lifetime of conditioning signals that encourage them to continuously compare themselves to others, earn love, or establish their value through accomplishment. The basic reality of your intrinsic worth is obstructed by these misconceptions. Patience, self-compassion, and consistent practice are typically the keys to appreciating your value. It entails searching past your uncertainties and anxieties to uncover the indestructible core of your thoughts and emotions. There may be times along this journey when you run into resistance, moments when your sense of self seems to be challenged by the outside world, or when past insecurities resurface. These experiences are a necessary component of the process and serve as invitations to increase your awareness of and dedication to your actual value. They are chances to remind yourself that you are sufficient no matter what happens outside of you, and to practice being patient with yourself. Letting up of the desire for continual approval also brings to a profound sense of freedom. You regain your power when you stop asking for permission to be loved or to exist. You no longer use energy attempting to conform to the standards or beliefs of others. Rather, you focus it on nurturing your spirit and sharing your special talents. At this point, your life starts to unfold organically. You align with the truth of your worth, not because you force it. Furthermore, this inherent value is ever-changing. It is developing and lively. Every self-acceptance action and self-compassionate moment fortifies the basis of your worth. You start to understand that your value is linked to something more than yourself, whether it's a universal presence, a creative force, or just the mystery of life that respectfully envelops all living things. This relationship deepens your comprehension and encourages confidence, humility, and thankfulness. It's critical to keep in mind that accepting your value does not guarantee that you won't encounter suffering, rejection, or failure. These are a natural part of the human experience and contribute to wisdom and personal development. But when you have a strong sense of self-worth, these difficulties don't make you question who you are. They turn into transient rippling effects on the surface of a deep inner tranquility. Living with a sense of your intrinsic value changes the way you interact with the outside world. You begin to establish boundaries that respect your worth and safeguard your energy. You make decisions that enhance rather than diminish your well-being. You understand that you deserve love, respect, and kindness because you are naturally deserving of them, not because you have earned them. Your life starts to organically move toward harmony and fulfillment when you reach this realization. A silent confidence that you're already sufficient takes the place of the battle to prove yourself. This is the starting point for living a life worthy of you. A life where you just have to be and get, without having to seek or persuade. The cosmos is happy to have you around, and is in tune with your true self's frequency. Thus, totally accept this fact. There is no compensation for your merit. You were born with it. It serves as the cornerstone around which all of your happiness, accomplishments, and deep relationships can be constructed. You break free from the bonds of uncertainty and enter a flow of life that is rich, lovely, and completely in line with your true self. As you ease yourself into this understanding, resistance and struggle have traditionally been seen as indicators of power and advancement. People who put in the most effort, overcome the most difficult challenges, and never give up are frequently commended by society. However, there is a subtle wisdom in seeing that resistance is not strength, particularly resistance to your actual self and life's natural flow. It is in pain. You cause tension and discord inside yourself when you fight against what is, and attempt to control or impose results that are not in line with your inner self. This tension turns into a barrier that prevents you from achieving the alignment you're looking for, trapping you in vicious cycles of annoyance and fatigue. There are various ways to resist. It can be the internal conflict against your own uncertainties and anxieties, the never-ending pursuit of objectives that others have forced upon you as indicators of success, or the endeavor to fit into positions that do not align with your soul. It is the ever-present must and should, the voice that tells you that in order to be worthy or accepted, you should be more, do more, or change who you are. The erroneous notion that your worth is dependent on these outside approvals, which forces you to struggle for something that is already within of you, frequently fuels this resistance. You are effectively saying no to the present and to the way your life is naturally developing when you oppose. A story that the universe is already conveying flawlessly is what you are attempting to alter. This inability to accept reality leads to stress that permeates every part of your life. Your spirit feels heavy, your body tense, and your mind is racing. The river of life seems to draw you under or sideways away from the path of ease and grace the harder you push. Ironically though, giving up this resistance is the same thing that gets you closer to your actual course. It is a deep acceptance that what is occurring is a necessary part of your journey, not a surrender or surrender to failure. The river becomes your guide rather than your enemy when you stop fighting against it and start floating with it. The flow starts to lead you to experiences, connections, and possibilities that are in line with your true self. And because it entails accepting uncertainty and giving up control, this transition from resistance to flow calls for bravery. We are frequently instructed that safety involves control. It is a deep acceptance that what is occurring is a necessary part of your journey, not a surrender or surrender to failure. The river becomes your guide rather than your enemy when you stop fighting against it and start floating with it. The flow starts to lead you to experiences, connections, and possibilities that are in line with your true self. And because it entails accepting uncertainty and giving up control, this transition from resistance to flow calls for bravery. We are frequently instructed that safety involves control. Believe all will work out if we just handle every little thing. However, in reality, control is a myth, and holding onto it just makes resistance stronger. You make room for something bigger than your limited comprehension, to take control when you let yourself unwind into the unknown. The universe operates in ways that are both perfect and strange, frequently going beyond your expectations and worries. Additionally, resistance prevents your abilities and gifts from being expressed naturally. You restrict your originality and spirit when you push yourself to fit in or seek acceptance from others. Consider a flower attempting to bloom while being heavily burdened or in the dark. It cannot glow or open completely. However, the flower blossoms naturally when the proper conditions and room are provided. Similarly, you let your inner light shine freely when you stop fighting against your actual self and your life's circumstances. This transparency brings blessings and synchronicity that were previously concealed by the mask of hardship. Disconnecting from your inner wisdom and intuition is one of resistance's most significant impacts. The quiet murmurs of your emotions are drowned out by the cacophony of your intellect while you are enmeshed in the cycle of pushing and battling. This discrepancy causes you to make decisions that are inconsistent with your core beliefs and aspirations, which feeds the resistance cycle. However, you can hear the inner compass that points you in the direction of your true north when you practice trust and calm. Resistance can also show up in relationships if there is tension and conflict due to the need to be accepted or the need to control the outcome. In relationships, trying to force people to live up to your standards or fighting change frequently results in hurt and alienation. However, you make room for genuine connection when you practice accepting both yourself and other people. This acceptance entails accepting reality without needless struggle, not putting up with hurt or losing your limits. It mirrors the balance you create within, allowing love, respect, and understanding to flow organically. It is impossible to overestimate the liberation that comes with letting go of resistance. You stop squandering valuable energy on fights that don't benefit you when you quit fighting what is. This recovered energy can be used for joy, growth, and creativity. Relaxation turns into a potent transformational tool. It's an active state, not a passive one, but a conscious decision to work with life instead of against it. Miracles, unanticipated answers, and a profound sense of tranquility are all made possible by this connection. Given how commonplace resistance has been in your life, you might be wondering how to start letting it go. Awareness is the first step. Identifying the times when you're fighting against yourself or reality Take note of the physical strain, the racing thoughts, or the emotional unease that indicates resistance. After that, gently allow yourself to take a deep breath and unwind in the here and now. Fear and control start to wane with this small act of surrender. This awareness and tranquility can be developed through mindfulness and meditation practices. These exercises teach you to accept things as they come up without feeling the need to make quick changes and to watch without passing judgment. This gradually increases your confidence in life's journey and your own capacity to handle ambiguity. You discover that life should be enjoyed with openness and curiosity rather than being controlled or scared. Keep in mind that overcoming resistance is not about becoming flawless or never having to struggle again. The goal is to change your connection to one of struggle, deciding to face life's obstacles with acceptance rather than denial, with grace rather than coercion. Your connection to alignment and flow is strengthened with each instance of relaxation in the midst of adversity. In the end, resistance prevents you from living the life that is worthy of you, because it keeps you estranged from who you really are and the cycles of life. You can live a life of ease, joy, and fulfillment by letting go of this reluctance. As the battle lessens, a strong faith that the universe is leading you precisely where you should be takes its place. This trust serves as the cornerstone of a life that honors your intrinsic worth, a life away from combat. This faith becomes the cornerstone of your spirit. Images of rest or inactivity may come to mind when you think of relaxing. However, genuine relaxation is something far more profound and potent, particularly when it comes to connecting with the life that is worthy of you. It is a deliberate decision to release tension, control, and opposition in order to move freely with how your life is developing. In order to open yourself to the abundance that awaits you when you let go of the barriers you have unintentionally created. Relaxation is an invitation to align with life's natural flow. Abundance is more than just success on the outside or tangible fortune. It is a condition in which you feel content, nourished, and at one with the environment. This abundance flows effortlessly when you stop trying to force things, stop pushing against the current, and instead relax into the process of becoming. When you relax, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive, ready to be guided, and ready to allow what truly belongs to you to enter your life. The idea that relaxation invites flow and abundance might seem counterintuitive in a culture that glorifies hustle and constant striving. We have been taught to believe that success is the result of relentless effort, and that only by controlling every detail can we secure the life we desire. Despite accomplishments, this mindset frequently results in burnout, annoyance, and a sense of emptiness. The grace of submission, not the strength of will, is the source of true power. Recognizing when to push and when to let go, when to act and when to allow. You make room inside yourself when you relax. A place where you can get clarity, listen to your intuition, and come up with innovative answers to your problems. You're more open to inspiration and direction when your body and mind are at ease, as these things could otherwise be overpowered by tension and overanalyzing. This transparency allows you to see the way ahead clearly, much like clearing the fog. Additionally, it breaks down barriers that have kept you back by allowing the energy of abundance to flow freely. Your energy vibrates at a frequency that draws good things into your life when you're relaxed. This is a really deep reality. Similar things tend to attract similar things. Your vibrations resonate with difficulty and limitation when you are tense, nervous, or afraid. On the other hand, you attract situations and people that reflect your level of ease when you are at ease, focused, and relaxed. When you project energy, the universe reacts by bringing circumstances into alignment with your inner state. Additionally, letting go is a sign of trust. Have faith in the cosmos, in yourself, and in life's journey, because it enables you to let go of the need for precise results or instant results. This faith is crucial. You become a magnet for benefits that frequently exceed your expectations when you let go of your tight grip on how things should be and instead accept them as they are. These blessings might take many different forms: fresh chances, encouraging connections, surprising revelations, or straightforward moments of happiness and tranquility. Additionally, relaxation has therapeutic benefits. Your neurological system transitions from a fight or flight response to one of rest and recuperation when you experience profound relaxation. Your heart and mind become more open as a result of this physiological shift, which facilitates the healing process. Move forward with a lighter mood after forgiving both yourself and other people, because healing eliminates the spiritual obstacles of pain and fear that impede the flow of life's blessings. It cultivates an environment conducive to prosperity. The ability of relaxation to create synchronicity is among its most lovely features. Those significant coincidences that give you the impression that the universe is pointing you in the direction of your destiny. You become aware of connections and patterns that were previously invisible when you let yourself go into the flow. Unexpected approaches can lead to doors opening. Individuals show up when you need them, and solutions come to you on their own. These coincidences are indications that you're in harmony with your value, and that the life you have always wanted is becoming a reality. Being relaxed is not the same as being passive or complacent. It does not imply abandoning your aspirations or aims. Instead, it's a dynamic condition of being in which you embrace life to the fullest, while letting go of the needless stress of struggle and control. It is the skill of striking a balance between responsiveness and action, understanding when to take a bold move forward and when to take a break and let life catch up. Creativity, wisdom, and elegance are found in this balance. In order to live a fulfilling life, many spiritual traditions stress the value of trust and surrender. This surrender is a strong recognition that life is bigger than your constrained viewpoint, not a sign of defeat. By unwinding, you accept that a higher intelligence is at work, one that promotes your development and well-being in ways you can't always see or anticipate. This recognition eases your burden and makes it possible for you to get the assistance that has always been there. There are numerous ways to engage in relaxation exercises. It could be through conscious exercise, deep breathing, meditation, or just spending peaceful time in the outdoors. The objective is to develop a condition of openness and presence that becomes ingrained in your everyday life, regardless of the approach that works best for you. You start to see that when you do this, your decisions become clearer, your experiences become richer and more satisfying, and your worries start to decrease. You are in harmony with both the flow of abundance and your own value when you are at ease. You start to realize that abundance is a natural condition of being that emerges when you give yourself permission to be totally present and receptive, rather than something that exists outside of you and must be understood. You come to understand that you are already a part of an endless supply of love, creativity, and opportunity. The gateway to this limitless reservoir is relaxation. When you pass through it, you enter a world where you easily receive the happiness, contentment, prosperity, and tranquility you so richly deserve. You begin to live your worth instead of striving to prove it. Miracles become commonplace in this place, and your life reflects the value that has always existed within you. Therefore, embrace rest as a meaningful act of engagement with the universe, rather than as a way to escape from reality. Give yourself over to the flow of prosperity, and have faith that what is about to happen is entirely in line with your innermost value. You may be who you really are in this stage, and the life that is worthy of you develops in a beautiful, effortless, and natural way. It's common to misinterpret growth as a process of becoming more, It seems as though acquiring more abilities, accomplishments, titles, and belongings will somehow make us whole. True progress, however, is deeper and much more subtle. It is about discovery rather than accumulation, revealing your true self beneath the layers of fear, expectation, and training. The process involves becoming more authentic, more you, and more in line with your inner essence that has always been there. This realization completely changes the way that transition is viewed, from a struggle to change into something else, to a peaceful discovery of who you really are. Many people strive throughout their lives to mold themselves into idealized representations that are dictated by their families, society, or even their own self-limiting ideas. They pursue identities that are molded by their ideal selves: prosperous, well-liked, acceptable, or flawless. However, these personas frequently serve as masks to conceal the real self. Maintaining them can feel taxing and burdensome. Additionally, the longer you wear them, the more you lose touch with your true self. Dissatisfaction and internal conflict result from this gap, because a part of you feels invisible and unheard, regardless of how much you accomplish or change on the outside. Furthermore, genuine growth constantly encourages you to remove old masks rather than put on new ones. It challenges you to step into a more complete expression of who you are by letting go of things that no longer serve you, such as outdated fears, limiting beliefs, harmful routines, and outside demands. Because it necessitates openness and honesty, this process is frequently uncomfortable. It entails confronting aspects of yourself that you might have disregarded or dismissed. However, freedom exists within this vulnerability. When you let go of the fake, the bright, entire essence of who you are is what's left. Embracing your individuality, the traits, interests, and viewpoints that make you stand out, is another aspect of being more you. These are gifts to be celebrated and shared, not defects to conceal or correct. People frequently repress their uniqueness in order to blend in or stay out of trouble. However, by doing this, they deprive the world of the contribution that only they are capable of making. Regaining your voice, your vision, and your ability to live life according to your own terms, while following your inner guidance, is what growth is all about. This voyage of self-discovery is not an isolated one. It is closely related to life's cycles and the relationships you build. You draw relationships that mirror and encourage your development when you stay true to who you are. Mutual respect and progress are the goals of these relationships, rather than affirmation or dependency. They turn into mirrors that reflect back your actual self and your journey partners, inspiring you to expand your comprehension and communication. Your relationship with obstacles changes as a result of transformation, via becoming more of yourself. You start to view challenges as opportunities for personal development and growth, rather than as something to be feared or resisted. Every obstacle teaches you something new about your fortitude, inventiveness, and love-making potential. Instead of becoming obstacles, they turn into stepping stones, chances to peel back the layers and become more really yourself. This type of progress is beautiful because it is in line with your value. As you become more of who you are, you realize that your value is inherent and quit attempting to prove it through accomplishments outside of yourself. This alignment produces a profound sense of contentment and serenity that is impervious to outside influences. When your decisions and behaviors are in line with your inner truth, you are living a genuine and honest life. Like a flower blooming in its own time and manner, this process of discovering your true self is organic. It cannot be hurried, coerced, or controlled by the expectations of others. Patience and faith in your own timing are necessary. Growth can feel like a soft expansion at times. Sometimes, It's an unexpected discovery. The rhythm of becoming more of yourself includes both. A closer relationship with the world around you is another benefit of growth. You start to see how intertwined all life is as you get closer to your essence. You may never fully understand the ways in which your activities inspire and impact others. This knowledge enhances your experience and strengthens your sense of purpose by encouraging humility and thankfulness. It is important to remember that becoming more you does not mean perfection or flawlessness. Authenticity includes embracing your imperfections, contradictions, and complexities. These are the very things that make you human and relatable. Growth is about accepting all parts of yourself with compassion and curiosity, allowing yourself to evolve without judgment or harshness. In this journey, self-compassion becomes a vital companion. As you shed old layers and step into your truth, you may encounter moments of doubt, fear, or pain. Recognize that progress is a spiral with many twists and turns, rather than a straight line, and treat these moments with love. Every step, even the challenging ones, contributes to your development and growth. In the end, growing as a person results in a life that feels genuine, purposeful, and in harmony. It is a life in which the degree of self-acceptance and the clarity of your goal determine your value, rather than any external indicators. This type of development makes it easier to experience the joy, creativity, and connection that come from living in balance with who you really are. You will observe a change in the way you interact with the world as you accept this process. Making decisions becomes simpler when your inner compass takes precedence over obligation or fear. You are drawn to events that uplift your spirit and let go of those that sap your vitality. People who are likewise trying to live from their truth are drawn to you because of your genuine presence. In this sense, growth is about being who you are, completely and unashamed, rather than about changing who you are or achieving a certain ideal. It is the path from surviving to flourishing, from fragmentation to completeness, from compliance to freedom. Every step you take ahead is an affirmation of your value and a call to live a life that genuinely reflects it. One of the most difficult, yet freeing changes you can make is to trust life's timing and path. Patience can seem like an alien idea in a culture that is fixated on speed, rapid results, and constant movement. We want progress right now, answers right away, and indications that we are headed in the right direction. The underlying reality, however, is that existence moves in a rhythm that is far more complex and smart than our finite comprehension. Trusting this timing entails letting go of the desperate need to be in charge of every little thing and accepting the flow of your individual journey with openness and faith. You start to let go of the tension caused by impatience and anxiety that so frequently marred your experience when you learn to trust the timing of your life. You no longer use arbitrary deadlines or comparisons to the accomplishments of others to gauge your success or value. Rather, you understand that your journey is unique, a sacred unfolding that is precisely suited to your development and fulfillment. Peace can live within of you because of this trust. The trip itself is just as significant as the final destination, even in the face of uncertainty or waiting. Every action has meaning and purpose, regardless of how tiny or unimportant it may seem. Embracing the process of becoming, instead of focusing only on results, is necessary to trust this. Sometimes, the most important lessons are encased in setbacks, detours, or difficulties that, although annoying at the time, are necessary for your development and readiness. You give yourself permission to accept these teachings with grace, rather than resistance when you have faith in your journey. This trust is a deliberate decision to match your will with a larger flow of life, not a passive resignation. In addition to patience, it calls for focus and a readiness to pay close attention to the inner guidance, intuitive cues, and subtle indicators that you encounter. As you develop this sensitivity, you start to know when to press forward and when to take a break, when to act and when to wait. This equilibrium is the dance of timing and faith, where your choices are influenced by the bigger forces guiding your course, as well as your own wishes. Fear prevents many people from trusting their timing. Fear that if they wait, they may miss out on opportunities, lag behind, or never realize their goals. These anxieties frequently result from the false notion that success in life is determined by speed, as in a race or competition. However, life is not a race. It is an extensive story that develops at its own pace and with its own wisdom. When you trust your timing, you can see past the here and now and embrace the big picture, where everything comes together perfectly at the correct time. A deep sense of comfort is also brought about by this change of viewpoint. You can relieve the burden of disappointment and frustration when you stop pushing things to happen sooner than they should. You save your strength for the times when action will be most beneficial and avoid wasting it on doubt and anxiety. You can relax knowing that what is meant for you won't elude you because of this faith, because what arrives too soon might not be what's best for you. Having faith in your path also strengthens your bond with yourself. It calls on you to respect your own unfolding, your rhythms, and your pace. When things seem to be going slowly, or when you run into problems, you learn to be kind to yourself. You understand that development is not always linear, and that sometimes the most profound changes take place below the surface, where they are invisible, but incredibly real. Through life's ups and downs, this self-compassion strengthens your soul and builds resilience. This trust is not limited to your own timeline. It is a faith in the universe's intellect and the invisible forces that mold your life in ways you can't always understand. You start to see synchronicities and indicators that you are headed in the correct direction when you have faith in the trip and time. The cosmos is working in your favor, and these moments of alignment are like gentle reminders of that. Even when the path is unclear, they encourage you to maintain your faith and move forward with assurance. Through trust, the unknown becomes a source of wonder and possibility, rather than a cause of fear. This trust also changes how you respond to obstacles and failures. You start to perceive challenges as essential components of your journey, detours that offer strength and insightful information, rather than as failures or dead ends. By actively engaging with the present and finding meaning and growth in every experience, you cultivate patience rather than passively waiting. Resilience and a greater appreciation for life's richness are fostered by this way of thinking. Trust. Based patience has an effect on your relationships as well. You cease imposing relationships or results on other people when you have faith in your timing. You respect the rate at which you and those around you grow by letting connections develop organically, instead of hurried or shallow attachments. This makes room for genuineness, respect for one another, and stronger ties that represent your actual value. You become more in line with your value as you learn to trust your journey and timing. In the end, trusting the path and the timing is a spiritual discipline that involves letting life unfold with faith in its kindness and intelligence. It encourages you to let go of control, welcome ambiguity, and live completely in the here and now, while maintaining an optimistic outlook on the future. A life that feels calm, meaningful, and incredibly fulfilling is built on this trust. By developing this trust, you set the stage for your value to grow organically. You leave behind the stress of hurrying and enter the serene certainty that everything you require will arrive at the ideal time. This is the starting point for living a life that genuinely reflects your value. A life in which your path is accepted as the lovely, sacred process it was always intended to be. Your desires come true with ease, and your spirit is nurtured.